Oh, I see Evan.
Yep, I'm back. We waiting for YouTube to launch to get this going?
YouTube is
Yeah.
on and working.
Oh,
It is?
It is. I see
Oh, that
you,
was
and I
good.
saw Evan a minute ago,
oh,
and
yeah.
I see all three of us down at the bottom.
Okay.
Oh, there's a big delay. YouTube is on.
Oh,
Yeah, it is. I see you. I turned off sound on that, but there's quite a delay. Haven't timed it, but
It's
let's
about
see.
20
Let's
seconds.
time it. If I wave, okay, I'll wave. Start the video. Start the timer. Looks like about a 29-second delay.
To get onto YouTube?
Yeah, when we talk, it's 29 seconds before YouTube is where we were.
We have to tell the people that?
I'll mention it, but I don't think it really matters.
All right.
They can't interact, so it shouldn't.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no interaction, but if we start talking about times or something, and it's, I don't know. That's funny. I'm gonna get rid of that.
So distracting.
Well, we get all the rest of this thing working. We shouldn't have to worry about it.
That's right. So,
So how does it pick when to choose screens?
Unless you're talking for a long time. If you talk for a long time.
okay, we're at 1 minute.
So what if
7 o'clock.
somebody just makes a noise?
All right, so I'm going to call this meeting to order at 1900 hours. For those watching the streaming video on YouTube, there's about a 30-second delay between what I say and when you hear it. So, any changes to the agenda?
No.
I don't have any.
I
Okay,
have none.
then we'll adopt the agenda as presented. And any questions about the minutes of the previous meeting?
I have none.
I have none.
Okay, then I'll make a motion we
All right.
approve the minutes of the previous meeting. Oh,
Seconded.
okay. All in favor?
Second.
Aye.
Aye.
Good. All right, EMS office, job description.
Okay, so this is really about one part of it, but you guys just talked about it briefly, that one meeting I missed. And then we talked about a little bit the next meeting. none of you have really come and said, okay, what's this about? Now, Richard did ask me about the money issue. But the biggest part of it right now is the EMS Council said, yeah, let's go ahead with this. We've got to write a job description, which I've already proposed a job description to the EMS Council. Everything else is kind of moving along as we can get information out of South County. South County is moving ahead to basically get rid of the position as of April 30th. And so if we're not prepared to do anything, that person's basically not going to have a job. Now, there has been discussion about them holding on a little bit. So my big question is, our policy says that you guys will approve every job description. This person will be employed by us. It will be a job description that we have in place, but basically everything in the job description will be agreed upon between the EMS Council and the Snohomish County Chiefs. So do you guys want to vote on that job description, or you just want to move along and have us propose or bring these things to you as we get them accomplished?
So normally I would say I am not, I wouldn't say I felt strongly one way or another. However, since this is a new position and it's a position that is even though they're a direct employee of Fire District 4, they're not, and they're kind of working for other people also. I'd like to review it.
Okay.
Yeah, me too. Is that like a contract contracted employee, or is it actual an employee?
Okay, so no, we would do this position just like we've done all of our other people. They have to have a personal services contract. So in the end, regardless of what the job description is, you guys are going to have to sign on to that job description or that personal services contract, just like you have everybody else. So,
and then we just get paid by everybody that pays into that, and that's how their wages paid. Okay,
so it's like the discussion was right now South County has a fund that for the last 3 years actually they've taken everybody's assessment and put into this fund. Right now the calculation is it's about $630,000. And so quite simply on a monthly basis, we the EMS Council, the chiefs and us as the management board would say, okay, it's time to pay, go ahead and approve that voucher. And then we would just fund the EMS Council's checkbook for that month for wages. So it's just, we're doing the actions and we get paid for doing those actions. The money comes out of those assessments.
Okay.
Everybody, that makes
all,
sense?
Yep.
And that would be all the taxes
There's
as well, and all that, those other.
Everything, and that's why, and that's why we would do the personal services contract, because it's just like everybody else. We brought Sam in. She got a job description, personal services contract. She saw all of the benefits and stuff that she got. It's going to be the same thing with this individual, with the exception that the money to take care of that would not come out of our funds. It would come out of the EMS Council funds.
All right.
So Deputy Chief Gatterman, he would be sort of the one in charge of the books of this. Is that how that would work?
Yes, yes. And there's the reality to this is, even though Mike would be looking at the funds, the EMS Council, the management board is the ones who are going to approve things coming and going. Mike's just moving the money back and forth.
Okay. So do we have somebody from our district on that board then?
Yes. You saw my proposal?
Yes.
That I gave to them. It was part of the packet. So everything in there is what I've proposed to the board so far, and they've agreed to it.
Okay.
And so that's just part of it. There will be a management board that's a member of the EMS Council, the Chiefs Association, and whoever's in charge here. And those three people will develop the policies. Most of them will be our policies, but they'll develop the policies and implement them for this office and for that employee. Any other comment
Well-
about the job description?
Will you take this before our legal folks and have them review it too to make sure we haven't missed
Yeah.
something? Okay.
So what I'm waiting for is Wednesday is the County Fire Chiefs Executive Board meeting. This is going to be discussed. If everything goes well on Wednesday, then I will send this off to Brian. We've got a draft contract and have Brian lay it all out legal wise. There is a possibility that things won't go well on Wednesday. There has been some issues with a couple of individuals where some of the other districts have just backed out, said, "No, we're not going to fool around with this. We're just done." If that happens on Wednesday with us, then I'm just going to tell them we're not interested.
You mean like
because I
not
said-
pay? They don't want to pay into it anymore.
No.
Yes.
Nobody, right? Well, I shouldn't say that. We do have some departments who have made that comment, especially right now. We've actually, because there's $630,000 in this account, we've actually had a couple of departments ask if they can drop the assessment down for next year and maybe for 2 years in a row, because we've got more than enough to pay this person.
Wow.
But it has been more the issue of the employment status. The people who were running this thing to start with said they wanted 2 and maybe 3 employees. I'm saying, no. This thing's been so messed up, and we got a bunch of chiefs who said, let's bring this back into a system where it's a necessary system. It contributes to what we're doing with the EMS Council and to the chiefs, and there's no extra stuff. And so if everybody agrees to that on Wednesday, then we're going to keep moving forward. But if we have a group, 2 or 3 people that walk in and want to make this a lot bigger animal than it should be, then we're just going to back out of it.
Back out of the deal or back out of the
Yeah.
what we kind
And
of-
everybody knows, all the chiefs know, Evan.
Yeah.
We've had several conversations, so they know what I've been asking for. I've been asking
Yeah.
for everybody's participation, and nobody else has stepped up and even and made an overture like this to get to this point. We're the only one that's done it, and they know it. South County wants out of the situation, so we're going to see what happens on Wednesday.
Sounds good. What hour-wise, coming from either you or Chief Gatterman or Chief Weller, what is that going to tax you guys? When it comes to hour-wise, what are you looking at? Like a month? Would you say that you guys are going to be spending personally on that?
Well,
And if so,
it's going to be at least.
Would you be able to take from that fund for your time?
Oh, well, see, that's something I'm going to work with Brian on. So we're going to get paid for, we're going to get paid a percentage of the wage to administrate that. We're going to get a set fee for managing their funds, and we're going to get a set fee for their use of our facility. And then overall, there's going to be an administrative fee. So we're not going to make big bucks out of this.
Yeah.
But they have told me up front, we want you to be paid for everything. So, and we've talked about the management in-house too. One of us are going to start out being in charge of that person to get things started. And then the individual is probably going to be passed off to Neil as the MSO. Because a lot of her work will be with the EMS people. So it just makes sense that like Neil has an employee and works with EMS on him.
Alrighty.
Any other questions, Jim or Richard?
No.
No.
Okay, so I will, after Wednesday, we'll have a better idea what the job description is going to look like. And if we move forward, then I'll get this off to Brian. Next time you guys will see it, will be with a draft working agreement.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Would that be before the 30th of the end of the month?
I may bring it to you before then. Like I said, the South County guys have talked to me and they said, well, if it's going to take, a week or two more to get things laid out, they will extend that person's employment status, but they're not going to go a full another month. So, right now I'm kind of up in the air on how long it's going to take. But like I said, we'll know more by Wednesday.
So
Right.
if we would back out of this deal because of a number of fire chiefs, then it goes back to South County, and then what would they do with it?
Well,
Any idea?
right now, nothing. They were going to give this individual notice on last Thursday. They didn't tell me whether they've done that or not. They do not want they don't want the EMS people taking up their office space anymore. So, it's quite simply, they've said, if you don't take this on, we're done with it. And the reality is, some of the discussion has been, do they really need this office space full time? Couldn't they work out of maybe someplace elsewhere? I don't know that for a fact. In fact, the EMS guys, the EMS council guys, they really haven't said anything. They, when we met last week, and after they met for a couple minutes, they basically said, we're going to approve your proposal as written. So let's just move forward. And it really hasn't gone anywhere else. So South County just wants out of it. And as far as they're concerned, if we back out, it doesn't matter to them. They've already given the EMS council notice.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'll be
Okay.
bringing that stuff to you guys.
Okay, any other questions on that subject?
Nope.
We don't have to vote, or do we?
No,
No vote on this?
not at this point. Not at this
Okay.
point. We're not approving anything. We've already approved the chief a couple meetings ago to go ahead with this.
Right.
So
Okay.
that brings us to action items. So accounts payable and payroll. Any questions?
I think I had something in there, if I can find it here.
All right.
Make sure you guys were aware there was two different batches in the accounts payable.
Yes.
Right.
So Jim, I know you know Evan. I'm not sure. Well, Evan, you probably are aware too. But I went and picked up Richard's laptop yesterday because he had issues. We got it fixed this morning. But I took him a hard copy packet yesterday, so he had time to go over everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to look through, but I had my question answered on the one with the legal billing already. So
Oh yeah.
I had that, and I don't think the other one was. It had something to do with an alarm being replaced.
With an alarm.
Yeah, it was number 6. I don't remember which section it was in.
I didn't see. Let me just run through mine here. I don't remember seeing that one. Or was it an awning?
Oh, an awning. Okay, I can't read my own
Awning.
writing. An awning.
Okay, yeah. No. Last year, the chaplains came to me and asked if they could put an awning on the side of the support unit for when it's raining. And we went ahead and approved it, and it never got done. But that money came out of the chaplain's fund.
Okay. That
And
was my question.
Yeah, they got a deal on one this year. And so that came out of the chaplain's fund. So that was paid for, basically.
Okay, that's fine. That's the only other one I had. Thank you. So I have no other questions. I'd move to approve both the accounts payable and the payroll.
And I
All right.
second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So
Okay.
Jim, so the resolution we're going to get to here in a second.
Yeah.
So Basically, this resolution says that
Oh, hold it, hold it,
staff
hold
can
it, hold
go.
it. Did you want to skip over the cash, personal leave cash out?
Oh, no. Oh, that's right. We still got to vote on it. I can explain it when we get to it. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry.
All right, so I'll make a motion. We approve the personal leave cash out as requested.
I'll second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Okay,
Thank you.
now resolution 523.
Okay, sorry. Got ahead of myself. Forgot this was even here. So, you guys have read this, so it's pretty simple. Basically, this just allows us, it's like the city does when they have their consent agenda. So they can go ahead and vote on things, but the staff has basically already approved them because they were in the budget. So it's coming out of the regular budget. And what this really does is it allows staff to go through, and we don't have to have a meeting. In fact, we can sign this at the next meeting because we've already gone through the process of approving them, making sure they're coming out of the regular budget, and then Mike and Christina have an audit process they go to, or Mike and Sam. I can't remember exactly who does what here, but regardless, you guys have to vote on them, but you don't have to do it before we get them through the budget process. The other thing is, and none of you have asked, and that kind of surprised me because it's when I looked at this, I had to ask some questions of Brian. But the $50,000 bond issue, that is something that's already taken through care of in our insurance that we do, our liability insurance with BFIS. We've got a $100,000 section in there. So basically up to $50,000, and that's the maximum that can be spent without a full bid process. We can go ahead and spend up to that amount. If we were to find somebody that took advantage of us, or it got billed to the wrong place, or somehow didn't go where it was supposed to, the insurance company would take care of that, and then we would have to go back and try and recover the cost. So that's the $50,000 part of it.
Okay. That was a
Any other
question
questions about that?
I'm sorry. I said that was a question I had, the $50,000.
Oh, okay, good.
And it says here that a commissioner could sign this too, these things?
Yeah, that's a process we have never done.
Okay.
I'm trying to think back to our conversation. You guys, if we go ahead and do it this way, let's say right now Mike and I are the only two that are available that can sign payroll or can sign AP. Let's say something happened, neither one of us is available. We had to get this taken care of. It allows just one of you to come in and sign to get these through the process. So it's just another way of managing the paperwork.
Okay? Any other questions on the resolution?
But this will not be the normal way we do things then, no, right?
We could. I mean, because when we started having 2 meetings a month, unfortunately, it kind of got us into a system. But if you guys just, for whatever reason, wanted to start having 1 meeting a month, this process would take care of that, and we would do it just like we're doing it now. The end of each month, we'd have a meeting, if there's no reason to have a meeting before, and we could take care of all the paperwork then.
So,
because the first of the month, during the first month process, we could just go ahead and take care of that and then bring the paperwork into the second meeting.
Or we could go
Typically,
back to
the
having
first
this-
meeting,
Go ahead.
typically the first meeting is just AP, and then the second meeting is usually AP and payroll.
Yeah, our meetings used to be the second and fourth Monday of the months, and we changed so that we could better coordinate with the counties for payroll. But with this resolution, we could either, as the chief said, go to 1 meeting a month, or go back to the second and fourth Monday. So it's just 2 meetings a month. which normally it is, but sometimes there's 3. But I think our website, somewhere I was reading the other day that it still says we meet on the 2nd and 4th Mondays of the month. I can't remember that
You
was
saw
on the
that on the
website or
website?
somewhere else. I saw it somewhere. I don't remember where now.
Okay, I'll have to look to that.
Yeah, I don't remember where. I'll look it up after the meeting. So anyway, okay. So any other questions on Resolution 523?
Yeah,
No.
I had a question. Is this what you told us that came from our legal people the last time we
Yeah.
were together on this?
Yeah, when all this COVID stuff started, Brian started sending out some notices about different things that we could do to manage meetings differently. This was one of them. But this is something we've talked about in the past and just really never moved forward with because we were used to this different system. So,
Right.
But yeah,
Well, it
this
makes
came
sense to
from
me.
Brian.
It makes sense to me as long as the auditor will go along with it.
Yeah, no, this is, he did call me, Brian did call me and had me add one little piece in here. But aside from that, this is all his document.
All right. Any other
In
questions?
In the second paragraph there, it indicates that we only have one meeting a month. Perhaps we ought to have meetings. In the third paragraph, the same thing, just talks about regular meeting.
Missed that.
Well,
Did
the
you
first
see-
paragraph says meetings.
Well, it says the second paragraph says under normal procedures, vouchers are approved by the board at its regular scheduled monthly meeting. And perhaps maybe we should have an S there for meetings.
Okay, well, yeah, we could. It says meetings in the first and the third. But that's not a big deal. We can add that. Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
To add the S, yes.
Yeah, I could see it either way, but yeah, we'll go with the S.
Okay. I'll add that to the original.
Because you could say at a regularly scheduled meeting or at,
Yeah.
yeah, it's meetings is fine.
Okay.
Okay. So do I hear a motion on that one?
I just had another question.
Okay.
When we're all together again, or do we just come by independently and sign this
No, I would
Because-
wait till the next meeting when we got together.
when we're physically together?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
That was one of the questions I asked to Brian is what, with regard to the resolution and the other vouchers. I said, when do we have to do it? And he says, as long as you guys have it recorded, it's in the minutes. You just get them done when you can get them done.
Okay.
So in most cases, I would probably, if we knew that the meeting was going to be extended out some period of time, I would probably just make an effort to come around and get all your signatures. But Brian says that's not critical.
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
Okay, well then, I will make a motion that we approve Resolution 523.
I second that
Is
motion.
that the right number? Yeah. Okay, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye, okay. Transport waivers, okay. So Evan and Richard have had an opportunity now to review these in some fashion or another. Do we have any discussion around them?
Nope. We numbered them.
Recommendations?
I'm okay with waiving both number 1 and number 2 for the full amount.
I was okay with that as well. 1 and 2.
So do I hear a motion?
I hear a motion.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Okay, personal services contract.
Not much secret here what's going on. Chris has been here going on 2 weeks now, just about, and she's picked up on a lot of stuff. She's working with Sam on the website, and she agreed with everything that was in here. I guess if anybody's got questions about the contract or what she's doing, I'm open to that.
I don't have any questions.
I have none.
So I would just ask for a vote on approval of her contract.
I'll make a motion, we approve the contract as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Approved.
So what date does this start? You said she's been here 2 weeks, so that's when her time would have started then?
Yeah,
Yeah,
weeks
she
ago.
started on April 13th.
Okay.
1 week? Yeah, she's just been here a week.
Okay.
Started her
It seems
second week.
like two, huh?
Sorry.
Okay.
that brings us to fire chief comments.
So just kind of giving you a heads up on some of the stuff that's going on. I can officially tell you that our 2010 lawsuit is closed. I got notice from the attorneys last week that the plaintiff failed to serve the United States Supreme Court with notice of a request for appeal. So that just basically closed that case. The Blue Jeans video and audio thing, I think so far it's worked pretty good. A couple of glitches here and there. I was talking to Jim earlier, guys, that Bill has told us that, you know, there's some things in here that we can do to, like adding the ability to be able to show documents on the screen. So we'll be working on that this week for the next meeting on the 4th. Now I've heard, which comes to my next issue, I've heard that things are going to be started to open back up at or about the 4th. So how do you feel about next month's meeting, the 4th and the 18th? You want to just play it by ear and we'll see what happens?
Yeah, I'm good with playing it by ear.
That sounds fine for me too.
So, yeah, we could play it by ear. My thoughts on that are that things will open back up, but nothing has changed, really. Nothing will change for quite some time, probably a year or better. And so we need to follow the social distancing rules and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to a physical, meeting in the physical room with everybody as long as we did like we did last time. Don't have a problem with that
Yeah.
at all.
Right.
Okay, we'll see what happens between now and the 4th, but we're going to continue to work on making this system work a little bit better for us. So,
Yeah, I personally like meeting, but this works as well.
yeah, I think so. There's been we've had a lot of discussion about how things are going with calls and stuff. We're actually, I just looked this afternoon, we're actually up 9 calls from last year. So, which
Holy
still
smokes.
leaves us at 10. Yeah, it still leaves us at about 10 calls a day. But
Part of the reason
we're
we're
not
up is because
seeing-
we had an extra day. Part of the reason we're up is we got an extra day this year already too. They had 14 calls on
Yeah.
that day.
Well, the other thing that we're talking about is we are running a lot more calls to Monroe, and just because of distances between 42, 32, and 31. So that's added a lot to our call volume. Our brush fires, we had 6 brush fires in the last 2 weeks, and everybody's talking about it. In fact, Darrington had a pretty good fire this afternoon that they've got DNR and Forest Service on tonight. So there's a lot of discussion about how dry it is and what the summer may turn out to be like. if everybody's running their own brush fires, plus we have COVID issues. So a lot of discussion about that. Don and I were just talking about the COVID response stuff. We still believe we've only seen 3 positive patients in the district. A couple of those we've seen multiple times. But we've also tested only 3 of our people. All of them came out negative at one point or another. So overall, I think we protected ourselves well. Nobody's overdoing it. And we've had a couple of people call out sick, but nothing related to what we've been doing. Don told me today that we've spent about $7,000 on supplies. He has gone through the stuff today for FEMA to look for maybe recovering some of that money back. So he'll work on that paperwork and we'll see what comes out of that. And then, we're still going to be watching people. We're going to still be taking temperatures as people are coming in. The guys are responding to necessary operations only. And we're just going to leave the facilities closed until things break loose a little bit. So that's basically all my comments for tonight.
Does that include the representatives' offices? Are
Yes.
they closed too?
Yeah, John Lovick was here. He and I talked 2 weeks ago, almost 3 weeks ago. Yeah, they're not coming to their offices. They're doing, state legislatures doing all of their conferences video. They're not having they're not having group meetings.
Okay, commissioner comments?
I had some problems with my computer, and I think perhaps mine, maybe the other 2 of you, your computers too, may need to be upgraded or so. I think yesterday, it was Sunday, the techs were trying to get mine working for over 2 hours. So that's going to cost a little money.
Yeah, I think the conclusion that we came to when I talked with Kevin the other day when he was in, the conclusion we came to was it's time for new computers.
Yeah.
For the commission.
Well, and I can tell you guys that I've already got the purchase request on my desk. So we'll be moving on that probably this week.
Okay, what did the
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Sorry, I had to mute you for a second. Yeah, I agree. We should replace the computers. Mine, if I unplug mine for 10 minutes, the battery dies. So.
Yeah, I didn't know how old they were, and Bill reminded me last week when we were talking that we did get these quite a while ago. So no, you guys should see new equipment probably in the next week or 2.
So my battery still lasts over 2 hours.
Oh.
The original battery, 6 years old. It's amazing.
I had a couple of comments on the cards that people send back in.
Yeah.
On the 4th set, there was a comment there about the thermometer that was used.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, do we have different thermometers like for adults and for children? Because it indicates here that whatever thermometer was used, they weren't satisfied with the results.
So I talked to Neil about that. Neil went in and looked at the report, looked at what happened at the hospital, and basically said, every thermometer is going to read a couple of degrees off one way or another. And that one was not a significant call.
Okay.
So he basically said, really, that's not one we should make a big issue out of, just because of the circumstances of the call.
Okay.
So the customer was upset with the number on the temperature.
Apparently, the temperature between what we took and what they took when they got to the hospital were different.
Yeah, well,
They weren't pleased about that. But after Neil went through everything, he said, "Nah, that's probably not one we should make a big deal out of."
yeah,
They still gave us all 4s.
Yeah.
Right, but I would just I just didn't know if we had different kinds of thermometers, I suppose, for if you get real small children, you probably have more like infant thermometers and stuff like that. So,
Well,
the
right
forehead
now,
thermometer, the forehead thermometer is a high-tech thing. It's supposed to be pretty accurate, and it's not. It's more sanitary, I guess you could say. It's also a little more critical in how you use it. And like the chief said, you can have 5 thermometers and take your temperature and come up with a few points different.
right. And then on the third to the last sheet in this whole section there, there was a comment by the person who said that I guess we went kind of fast around the corners, but I was
so
strapped in.
that's one Jim and Evan can talk to you about. New guys, when they start driving ambulances, 9 times out of 10, they're always driving a little bit too fast. And the corner where we go off Bickford to go down to Highway 2 is usually one of those where they're just probably going a little bit fast on, and you do move around on a stretcher when you're in the back of the 8 car. It doesn't matter how fast you're going. So we try to talk to those people, and we will go back to this individual and just have a conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, the ambulances don't ride all that great either. So generally, when
Yeah,
you
that's
get to the hospital, the
that's
first thing I'd say is I apologize for the bounciness and the swaying. It just, and for new guys, you really gotta kind of just coast around the corners because there's just so much sway in the rigs. So
We used to make the drivers ride in the cot so they could feel what it was like.
yep.
yes. Yeah, because it's not all that pleasant sometimes.
Mhm.
All right. Any other commissioners' comments?
I had a question. What is are we getting close to hiring some firefighters? I know that you discussed at the beginning of the year about possibly hiring a few this year, and I was just wondering if there's like a time frame or where are we at with that? I know this
Right
whole
now,
COVID thing's slowing things down as well.
yeah.
Everything's on hold, but
Yeah, right now I'm kind of leery. We've got at least 2 departments in the county who are talking about cutting wages or cutting funds back, and one of them is actually talking about maybe laying somebody off. And right now we're in a hurry. We're holding off. We've got 10. Did Greg got 10 guys? Yeah.
7.
Greg's got 7 part-timers that we've interviewed to come in, but with this COVID stuff going on, we really don't want to bring anybody new into the system and expose them, especially because we take some time to work with them, and we bring them in and we decide we don't like them, and we've exposed them to something, then we've got a liability hanging out there. From the standpoint of bringing somebody on full time, yes, we did put in the budget for 3. We potentially need a medic. We potentially need to promote a lieutenant. And a couple of those things we're holding off on just because we want to see how things pan out here financially. Mike was looking at the money that we've got in so far in taxes. So obviously, taxes are all due the end of this month. The estimation was that for sure we'd get 60% of our first half taxes because that's what mortgage companies usually pay off. Right now, or as of today, we've got about, we were figuring we needed, Mike's still on. We've got about 50%. So, if we get through June when they're saying the taxes are going to be due now, and we get, the majority of what we're expected to get, I wouldn't have any problem by the end of the summer working through that process. Now, the other part of this is there probably will be no academies this year. Odds are, and I think maybe we didn't tell you, excuse me, Joe Melnick was up at North Bend going to the academy, and they worked it out and finished the academy 2 weeks early. They just didn't do one part of it that we could finish here. Evan probably knows, but I don't. Snohomish County was having issues. People were getting sick. I don't know if they finished their academy or not.
I think pretty much everybody but Everett and South County dropped their members for the most part, and they're kind of still doing it. They're doing it, just trying to do it with a little bit more social distancing.
Okay, so the biggest part is we would have to, if we did somebody, if we brought somebody on before we knew of an academy coming up, that person we would probably need to make sure that person had some experience, because they're going to end up spending some time working before we get through academy. So
Yep.
The biggest question right now is what are the funds, what are our revenues going to look like? And I think by the end of June, we'll have that knowledge. We'll know where we're at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, we'll be spending at least some of those funds on overtime. So, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah, I did hear that the September Academy is still on, even though that's obviously subject to change, obviously.
I hadn't heard that. So, yeah. Yeah, so revenues are the biggest thing. So far, so good. See what happens come the end of June.
So didn't they put allow people to delay paying their property tax?
Yes, till June.
Okay.
In fact, the letter that we got from the assessor's office basically said we expect that you would see up to 60% based on those people who allow their mortgage companies to pay. But then they extended that out to the end of June. Mike, was it the end of June, or was there a date set on it?
I think it was the first part of June, but we'll have rough numbers, but not good numbers till the end of June. So.
Right.
Okay.
Alrighty.
All right. Any other questions? Any other comments? Commissioner comments? Questions? Answers?
Nope.
Well then, with that, we will adjourn the meeting at 19:43.
Jim?
Yeah.
While you guys are all still on, Mike, did you want to talk to him just a little bit about about that money?
Oh, I can. If Jim wants
go
to
ahead.
reopen his meeting. Okay. So
Is this
Along with
official?
that
Should we
period,
reopen the meeting?
This is really just information.
All right. So do
Yeah.
you want to officially close the meeting and stop the stream?
We could stop the stream, yeah.
Okay.
the